Welcome to the Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me as he does every week from TheRinger.com is Dave Jacoby. Jacoby!
What's happening, Verno? We had 3 trash games last night, but 2 fantastic ones.
Yeah, we had 2 fantastic ones. One that went down to the very last shot and a lot of added drama. It is interesting that earlier in this week, when we were talking about the games, we talked about LeBron James's streak and this incredible streak. And I think I even said, by the next time we talk, it'll be to like 1,300 games. Well, did not get to 1,300 games with him scoring 10 points in consecutive games. Last night, with the game on the line in Toronto, he throws the ball to Rui Hachimura in the corner for the game winner, and it was a massive Lakers celebration. And so the streak finally ends, one of the most unbelievable streaks in sports history, but it ends in unbelievable fashion with him having the opportunity to get to the 10 points, but he passed it up and threw it to Rui Hachimura in the corner. And so all's well that ends well for the streak. I mean, at least we'll always remember how that streak ended, right?
The Mismatch is presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got it all. Same game parlays, quick bets for jumping in live, and your way to build the bet that fits your play. Plus, don't miss out on the holiday offers and surprises all month long. So download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/mismatch to get started. Remember, you must be 21 and over and present in select states, or 18 and over and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Watching the game, they did the Austin Reaves LeBron pick. I think they did it twice. And he's got the ball. He's got an angle. Like, he's got a shoulder. And I'm thinking to myself, he's guaranteed to shoot this ball. And then he rises up and just throws a laser to the corner for Rui. It was a microcosm of LeBron James and how he plays the game of basketball. And we know his history early on, before the championships and everything, when he used to do this in big spots in the playoffs, and everyone used to make fun of him. But after the game, Rui said, I don't know if this is true or not, but Rui said, LeBron told me to be ready. And it makes you think about The Last Dance and that moment. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And everybody blames LeBron when he was younger for passing up the shot. But let's not forget, Michael Jordan told Steve Kerr, if they double, be ready. And I don't know if he said it to Rui. Rui said he said it to Rui. But to me, that is it makes another layer of this beautiful moment more beautiful.
It's good for the documentary, for sure. LeBron James had 1,297 games with 10-plus points. That was the first time he has scored less than 10 points since January 5th, 2007. And there was some historical perspective that was given on this last night online. A couple things that I wrote down that when I was scrolling through, I passed by. One of which was truly unbelievable. You know, you have all the ones like, if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored this every game until he was 41, that would be the streak. Or there was one with Kevin Durant that he has the longest active streak now that LeBron's has done, and he would need to play 82 games for almost 12 more seasons to match LeBron's record. But this is the one where I was like, wait, what? I came across one, and I did not check this, but it's got to be true. Nobody's posting this unless it's true. It said that there are only 24 players in NBA history that have played 1,297 basketball games.
That can't be true. Well, I guess so, with the longevity in the early days. Yeah.
How would you play?
Yeah.
And he was generally injury-free. This guy didn't lose seasons to injury like most of his peers. And so 24 guys have ever played that many games. I mean, it is truly, totally and completely unbreakable. And so it was kind of crazy the way that all ended last evening.
But there's one thing I want to say about the way it ended last evening that's being overlooked by this LeBron play. was Austin Reaves. They have the ball. They're down 2. And we've watched, there's rhythms of NBA basketball games that you just sort of like get used to. Right. And they have the ball, and we're all assuming, and I think JJ Redick wanted a timeout. So the Lakers are walking towards the bench. LeBron, I think, is off the floor at this point, and Austin Reaves sees an opportunity and doesn't call timeout and just darts to the basket and gets a huge 2-point shot to tie the game. Like, if he doesn't do that, because the Raptors let their guard down, everyone's sort of like standing straight up and down, and he darts to the basket and gets a layup. And I don't think Austin would have done that if he wasn't playing as well as he was. He was absolutely on fire, but that play it just shocked the announcers. It shocked all the other 9 players on the floor. I'm sure it shocked JJ Redick. Like, that was such a heads up, smart play that's overshadowed by this LeBron thing, but that needs to be pointed out of the huge game that Austin had.
Well, and that becomes the topic, right? It becomes the streak ending and this play to the corner. The subplot is the reason we even brought up this streak earlier in the week is because he barely got to it in the fourth quarter in the game that they played earlier in the week. And it was like, but he kept the streak alive. And so it kind of became the streak. And the subplot is he barely got to 10 in the last game and did not get to 10 in this game. Like, is this where we are?
Well, no Luka. That's another thing. Like, you understand if Luka and Reaves are both cooking and LeBron is facilitating. He's 4 for 17 from the field. He did have 11 assists. Like, it wasn't like a bad LeBron game, but I'm just going to say, like, something tells me that he's still working his way back from the sciatica. He's still working. Like, he's not himself quite yet. Like, I'm not ready to just be like, LeBron is now a role player, a fourth option, a facilitator. I'm not ready to say that about LeBron
way
James.
He is moving is not like he has ever moved before in life.
Yes.
We've got to admit that when you're watching him, like even last year, he could dominate games. He's flying up and down the court, and that is just not the same. He has been a shell of himself thus far. Now, you are saying not ready to decide.
I'm not ready to say that. Yeah, I think this is him working himself back. This is 6th game back. He had a drive in the fourth quarter. There was like old LeBron, just sort of like, I'm just going to put my head down, put my shoulder into you, and get a layup on 2 people. Like, there's flashes, and I think that he's working himself back. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to sit here and say LeBron was lying about sciatica, but I think that he's playing the long game.
Oh no, I actually start to believe it now. Now that I watch him, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy
that looks like sciatica.
yeah. Well, I mean, it just looks like
Oh, don't do it, Verno. I'm not ready to do this yet. I'm not ready to do this.
It's not Willie Mays stumbling around in the outfield.
No, I'm not ready to do this. If this goes on for a couple months, fine. I think that he's like, I'm ramping myself up to peak when I need to peak. And
okay. All I know is you can plug in anybody and they can get you 8. Hell, yeah. You plug Dennis Jenkins in, he gets you 25.
Yes. I also want to say, like, this Austin Reaves game was bonkers. Like, he had 2, I think it was back-to-back or maybe 2 and 3 possessions. He's shooting these deep-ass threes. Like Trae Young stuff where, like, the defense isn't even really guarding you yet, and he's just pulling up. One was at the end of the clock, but, like, when you are a threat from that far from the basket with the ball in your hands, it just opens up the floor in ways that, like, I haven't seen. You know what I mean? Like, when you are a threat from that far away, like a Steph or a Trae, it just and Dame, I want to say too, it changes things.
He is having the mother of all contract years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, whatever you would have projected before this season started as the going rate for Austin Reaves, buddy, that has changed dramatically. There's no, like, I can't fathom what kind of contract he's going to get offered in the offseason. Seriously. And
he'll just get extended by the Bucks when they trade him for Giannis. So it'll be something like that.
For goodness sakes. All right, we had a shockingly great game that took place between the Sixers and the Warriors. It starts off, and the Warriors put up this putrid offensive performance in the first half of the game. After the first quarter, they're down like 30-10, and it's like, oh, okay, this one's not worth paying attention to. Next thing you know, you're seeing all these like tweets come through. It's like, oh my God, Pat Spencer. Oh my God, Pat Spencer. It's like, wait, what's going on? I see this clip, Pat Spencer's, he's barking at the Philly crowd. I'm that MF. And I'm like, what is happening? And so you have this Warriors run that gets them a 4-point lead, and then this furious ending with VJ Edgecombe, and then a unbelievable block by Maxey on Melton to seal the game for the Sixers. This one turned out to be infinitely better than it started.
It was 67-43. 60. When you're like, what I do is I scroll through the app to see what the scores are, and then I go to the TV to change the channels. And when you see 67-43, I forget that game. I'm like, oh, this one's not close. Like, I'll go back to the Lakers game or whatever. But I'm glad you mentioned that Pat Spencer celebration.
Unbelievable.
Because if you didn't see it, he hits a three and he turns into like Russell Crowe in The Gladiator. He's just screaming at the crowd. Like, when you're at home and you make a big shot, you celebrate with the roar of the crowd. When you're on the road, you turn evil. Like, he was so pumped.
Oh, yeah.
He's pounding his chest, he's screaming at the top of his lungs with like venom and anger. And as an old man, I'm thinking to myself, like, save some energy for the game, dude. Like, it was an awesome, awesome moment. And the end of this game got a little clunky, and, I'm gonna save a little bit of that for later, but it was a great comeback for the Warriors. And, unfortunately, the Warriors are just depleted at this point.
Well, and not only was Steph out, not only was Butler out, Draymond went out and hobbled back to the locker room. And so that was all, those other Warriors. And the Pat Spencer thing, just a moment on him. One of the most unbelievable stories in the NBA that will get more attention if he is able to contribute even more and more. Obviously, I'm around his brother in Memphis who is having a breakout year.
Cam.
The family is just all psychos, right? Like, if you were to go over to the arena today, the game starts at 7:00, right?
Mm-hmm.
At 2:00, Cam Spencer would be the only individual in the gym. And he is just out there shooting, getting a full sweat. Like, they are maniacal human beings, right?
Well, that was Cam. He was going at KD last year, right?
Yes. Booker, too. And they are they're dedicated to things. But there's a lot of people, that Spencer thing, the reason I'm bringing it up, there's a lot of people that will tell you that he is the greatest lacrosse player ever, right? That he was like, won the lacrosse Heisman or whatever. And just the craziest story with him. He got done with this unbelievable lacrosse career and then enrolled in Northwestern and started playing basketball. Like, after he was done being the best lacrosse player ever. Like, what the hell?
How does it even cross your mind? How does that even cross your mind to do that?
I'm going to go back and play basketball. Like, what? Yeah. And then he turns awesome at Northwestern.
Did David Stern suspend him for gambling from lacrosse?
I don't know. And next thing you know, he's in Philly screaming at the crowd, I'm that MF. Like, what? You're a lacrosse player. So crazy. What a world.
I thought that the Raptors-Lakers game was start to finish, just back and forth tight. That was a great basketball game to watch. This one was different because it was a blowout and then a big run from the Warriors. But it was so fun to watch. And the Maxey, you mentioned it, but like, Maxey, I think got tipped, but he shoots the final shot. There's 9.9 seconds left, and Hield throws like a Brady to Moss over the secondary, and Melton gets it. And remember, Melton, former Sixer. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's going to win the game. If there's what's the one word that comes to mind when someone says Tyrese Maxey?
Fast.
Fast, exactly.
Right.
And he was fast. I think he was on the ground after the shot attempt, pops up and just sprints back on defense and closes the ground. And it was a great block. It was a great block on Melton. And it's a fun way to finish a game. Like an Edgecombe putback. If you're the crowd, the Edgecombe putback gets you on your feet and you're cheering. And then you're terrified because Melton gets behind the defense, and then a huge block where the ball goes flying into the crowd, like lifted the roof off the place.
For your all-star / all-NBA case, it is always nice to have the game-winning block as part of the highlight package, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, this guy doesn't just do it on one end. He can help you win at the other end, too. And Maxey, this has been just an ascent to stardom this year in a way that he's always been really good, but like now he's built around good. The rest of the games were pretty crap last night, to be honest. We did have a bunch of news since we last spoke. So I think we were first. Same way I was first on the Taylor Swift engagement.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
You were first because of Reddit.
This is a teammate. This is a team thing. We were first.
On Giannis getting rid of his social media posts. And
right,
we knew.
I think we were already like on the Zoom or whatever. Yep. And I was just like, let me just check Reddit real quick. I think Giannis just deleted this.
So we knew something was coming. And so now we get into, like, even on Tuesday's show, you said, so where do we go from here? And I was like, well, we'll find out if he makes the formal request or not. And so then you have these reports behind the scenes that he's like, yes, he has made it known, right? Like the way that, you couch it all because he's a beloved individual, right? You don't want it to come off like, hey, man, get me out of here. It's like, I'm open, or we are talking to my representatives about what would be best. Like, okay, all right. Like the end game is he wants out, right? Okay, we've run our course here. I'm not getting any younger. I'm in my 30s now. I've missed a couple postseasons because of injury. How many more years do I have to be one of the best players in the world? I have no chance at winning a championship with this lot. I want to be somewhere where I could possibly do it.
Well, that's not the end of the story, Verno. Because that same night, like those reports come out in the afternoon, and that same night, he goes down with like a non-contact.
Right.
And starts grabbing at his calf. And like everyone's thinking the same thing, which is
I'm bailing.
More like, is it an Achilles? I mean, how many times have we seen stars?
I thought you were thinking, this is your way to not have to play until they trade you.
No. I mean, but the thing is, the Achilles.
Because he grabbed the back of his leg. And it was like, Jesus, what just happened? It was out of nowhere. It was
like usually the Achilles tears, like the Halliburton, Tatum, Lillard, those have been on like what they call like the back step, when you kind of like push off your back foot. And this was more just like jogging back.
Strange.
It was an odd one, but apparently it's not that bad. But who knows? I mean,
and let me just say,
it's such a weird twist to this story that he's hurt now.
And it's every night on the calves and the groins, and like we have had just an inordinate amount of soft tissue stuff, right?
Yes.
And then last year, what they say is that, the Achilles, the reason that you have to be so careful with the calf stuff is because of the possible injury to the Achilles, right? That your Achilles then I'm no doctor, but basically it provides, your bounce right? For it. It's the structure that holds that calf thing together.
You're doing a great job, Verno. You're doing a great job here, Verno.
You're welcome. The shock absorber. What I'm trying to say.
We've all seen.
Your Achilles is your shock absorber for your calf. If your calf is busted, then you can, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
Dr. Vernon is here. I'll say it like this. We've seen a lot of people with calf strains then turn into Achilles injuries. And if I'm Giannis, like, I am not coming back until I am 1,000%.
And I will say, I'm going to give a little credit to Eddie Johnson here, because I just find it fascinating. Everybody is trying to find the reasons. Oh, it's too many games. They're too specialized. They play too much basketball. They do this. They don't have this. They don't. I thought it was interesting for him to talk about Eddie Johnson this week. I saw this article where, and again, it's just something to add to the mix, okay? And he was saying that when they've gone through all of these different CBAs in the past, they have collectively bargained to shorten everything. And that what happened is, in his day and age, when all of these guys, because people say, in my day, I played a lot. And in my day, we did this. And in my day, guys didn't get injured like this. And we had bad travel and not the nutrition and not the whatever. He said, what we did have was long-ass training camps and tons of preseason games. And all of that was to get you ready for the upcoming season. You were then prepared for the upcoming season that you were about to undertake. And every step of the way, they have negotiated to lessen that and lessen that, right? They don't like the travel before the season. They don't like the two-a-days. They don't like these hardcore training camps where guys are making you sprint all the time and all this kind of stuff. And he said, but that stuff got you ready because basketball shape, working with your trainer is not going to get you in the basketball shape that you have to be in, right? That when you go out there, there is a different kind of shape that you have to be in order to play NBA basketball. And so now with all of this, speed of the game, too many games, too much specialized, there's only so many miles on these guys, too much AAU where they're playing 20 games a weekend, all this kind of stuff. It was one that I actually, when I read it, I was like, you know what? There probably is a lot of truth to that.
Well,
there probably is a lot of truth to you jump into a season less ready for your body to take on the demands of the season than you used to years ago. If you're trying to figure out why does this seem like this is happening all of the time, it's that you're you're not as prepared for what you're about to undertake as you used to be.
Well, two things. One, I like the old school guys that are like, oh, they work out too much. Like they don't party like we party. They work out too much. That's one of my favorite old school guy responses to all this. But back to Giannis is, it has him being injured now. It's not going to affect. It's not going to directly affect whether or not a team trades for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But it is a reminder, as someone in New York City, and he's rumored, like the Knicks rumors are there, or whatever. It's a reminder that he's not always healthy. He's been out in playoffs. This is his second injury of this young season. Like, he is somewhat injury prone as a basketball player. And if you are in a front office, in a conference room, putting together potential trade packages, you kind of have to take that into account.
Do you want to hear the odds that were posted last night?
Oh, God.
Minutes played after the trade deadline, like for a team. He will play the most amount of minutes for this team post-trade deadline this year. Who do you think is the favorite?
Well, I've seen some stuff, but if I had to say, I would say Hawks.
It's actually the Bucks.
Oh, that makes sense.
The Bucks, then the Knicks are plus 260. The Spurs plus 600. That is a nightmare for the world.
Is it?
The Heat plus 700. I mean, this could be Pat Riley's last dance, attaining Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then the Raptors plus 1,100. Everybody else is after that. Rockets, Lakers, Warriors, Pistons, Hawks, all of those. But like the four favorites would be Bucks, Knicks, Spurs, Heat. As is posted.
I listened to our colleagues Zach Lowe and Kurt Goldsberry, GOATs, and one thing that I found interesting about their conversation was the topic was brought up of like, is his trade value higher at the deadline or in the offseason? And it was mentioned that sort of teams in mid-season might be more apt to say, we've got a chance to make a run than a team sort of like 10,000 feet evaluating what they have and how Giannis would fit in. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons I found that to be an interesting point. And that's one of the reasons why I'm surprised that Bucks would be leading. But it's also one of those things where it's like, Tiger or the field or Thunder or the field. Like, I'm always going to take the field. Like, it's always easier to take. If someone said like, who's going to win the championship, Thunder or the field? Even odds. I would be like, field. Like, what are we talking about? It's not even close to me. But,
as a Knicks guy, what would you?
Well, that's we're going to get to that. Put a pin in that one. Put a pin in that one. We're going to get to loves and loathes.
Are you okay? Yeah, we are going to get to loves and lows. In fact, we'll do it right after we get to this CP3 stuff. So since we last spoke, Chris Paul was sent home. In the middle of the night, he posted, "I've been sent home."
I feel like that happens to me at the bar sometimes.
He got sent home by the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, what has followed has been the unloading of the notebook and the stories behind the stories. So you have a story of a Clippers legend being sent home for basically being annoying, okay? That he was critical of everyone involved in the Clippers operation. And let me just say, deservedly critical of people within the Clippers organization. But for the extent of his entire career, I think Chris Paul has had a profound positive effect on the teams that he has been a part of. And I think that when a few weeks ago, I'm watching Amazon and Blake Griffin opines that he would be the 5th oldest player on the Los Angeles Clippers, that lets you know the situation of that locker room. And so the same way that Chris Paul for many years can have this impact on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or the like, or all manner of teams, Phoenix when he was there and helped them get to the NBA Finals, that you had a locker room of people that like looked up to Chris Paul, honored Chris Paul, and Chris Paul knew, right? This is how you're supposed to work out. This is what it takes. This is how you eat. This is when you don't go out at night because we got a game tomorrow. Like all this kind of stuff. And everybody's like, you're right. Like looks up to him. When you are in a locker room of a bunch of old guys, everybody's just like, shut up. You know what I mean?
And they've played against you for years. Like
right,
you're not like this old vet and you're in the league and fresh face, new voice.
James Harden and Kawhi Leonard do not look up to Chris Paul. And Brooke Lopez doesn't look up to, like they don't. You know what I mean? Like you've had all his life. He has been the guy that you would look up to within a locker room. And I can see how, him saying this is not the way this is supposed to be. Finally, they're like, all right, this isn't having a good impact on things. People are just annoyed by it. But what I don't get is the not speaking with Ty Lue for 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
Like,
yeah.
What is that?
I feel like the Chris Paul situation and the Luka trade are the same thing. And let me explain. When things happen like those two events that don't make sense, it simply means we don't have all the information. I think that Luka went around and MF'd everybody. And I think that Chris Paul, this is just me speculating. I have no information. Yeah. I think that the reports are like, oh, he questioned the head coach and the front office. I think you could take the word question and replace it with screamed at, yelled at, and disrespected. Like, I think that he did so much that the team said, if you've been in a work environment where there's sort of like one bad apple or one unhappy person, and it'll just ruin the whole vibe for everybody. Right. I've been in that environment before, people off camera, so don't try to like figure it out. And it's like, and it's just sort of like, it just every day going to work becomes a little bit more tenuous and the tension is just too much and it ruins everyone's vibe. And I feel like he did that with the Clippers. And whether he is right or the Clippers are right, the Clippers are in a position to say, we don't want you around anymore. Well, and they said that. I think things happen behind the scenes that we don't know about.
And you're also going to love this part is that this became a huge thing. The Clippers are obviously the bad guy because they're the easiest punching bag in the world, right? Disrespect the all-time greatest player. This is wrong. Sending a guy home. Like, of course, everything the Clippers are going to do is going to be wrong, right? You know what nobody has mentioned? Not one person that I have heard mention. They sent him home after the Miami game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their next game was at Atlanta. They destroyed Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. Best game of the year.
The second the guy walked away, it was like, oh, wait, hold on now. Like, have you heard anybody talk about it's all been what dirtbags they are for doing Chris Paul so wrong? Never mind. The result was, by the way, at Miami, at Atlanta, might be the hardest road trip in the world for these guys. That is, I mean,
when the schedule comes out in the summer, they're like, okay,
buddy,
what was that? December 2nd, December 3rd? Got it? Yeah.
So, and I also think that this is part of it. So I'm actually going to see this team in person tonight, the Clippers. So we'll see.
Exciting.
Right? I think there's also an element where you look at your schedule if you're the Clippers and you go, okay. So it's at Atlanta. They're at Memphis tonight. Then listen to this. At Minnesota, at Houston, Memphis, at Oklahoma City, Lakers, Rockets, at Trailblazers, Pistons. I mean, there's part of you that looks at the schedule and goes, okay, and you think this is going to get any better? Right?
Yeah.
Like, We're really going to have
everything.
to hear about
winning
how crappy
fixes
this
everything,
is.
but
Right.
that schedule, it is going to get worse. I'll put a bow on this topic by saying I think there were multiple events that made the relationship between the Clippers, this particular group of coaches in front office and teammates, untenable. And Chris Paul basically got himself gone. He voiced his opinions in a manner in which basically it was no longer going to be acceptable.
I think he probably, honestly, acted like he has always acted. But this is a group of old guys that does not come off as helpful. It comes off as annoying to them because they don't look and bow to the altar of Chris Paul. And virtually most every team that he's ever played for does.
I mean, think about the Spurs
he knows
team
better
he was on
than
last
you.
year.
He's the
Harrison
leader.
Barnes was the only vet in the Spurs last year.
Right. Yes. Let's get to loves and loathes.
Let's do it.
You want to start or you want me to?
You always start, buddy.
Okay. First love. And this is a guy that I mentioned on Tuesday's show. I can't love this Ryan Nembhard thing anymore.
Oh, God.
I mean, first, so we talked about giving his opportunity in the Denver game. And he goes 28, 10, and 3 in his first game. Turns around and has got the Miami game. He's got 15 points, 13 assists. And he has one turnover since he's played 34 minutes a game in both of those wins.
He had 0 turnovers in the previous game. He had one. One in both games is what you mean, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And guess who else people have gotten super excited about this week for the first time?
Cooper Flag.
Right. I mean, everything that I love is happening with this story. The guy that proved he was awesome in college, his coach told you he's the best passer he's ever coached, and that includes Team USA or anything like that. Earlier in the week, I chronicled how he was part of the best high school basketball team of all time. He lived in a house with a professional athlete, right? His brother was a pro. He has been playing amongst pros as not the best player and making them better literally his whole life, and then goes undrafted, right? It's like the Van Vliet thing. It's like he showed you what he was, but it's too little. It's this, it's that. So you have this guy, and he gets a 2-way contract. Then it's hard to start a guy on a 2-way, and you tried the D'Angelo Russell thing, and you didn't like that. So then you tried the Cooper Flag thing. But now it feeds into one of those basic tenets I always talk about. It's not always about the individual player. It's how the individual player affects the group, right? And look at what he has done to affect the group. Most importantly, getting Flag into his natural position. And all of a sudden, Cooper Flag looks like a radically different human being than he did the first part of the season. And so you've got undrafted, awesome college player. I love those. And that was overlooked by everybody. You've got, hey, maybe we should play a point guard. I love that. And you've got the number 1 pick in the draft coming into his own because of this individual who, by the way, is on a 2-way contract. And watch the highlights. Nothing about that seems out of the ordinary in terms of the way he plays, right? He will get extra attention. He'll have to be a better scorer than maybe he has shown, but that'll come. And also will inevitably get picked on defense just because he's 5'0". Mm-hmm. But my God, the impact he has had. And that's not getting to come in and play your first 2 games against the Wizards and the Jazz. That's coming in and playing your first 2 games at Denver and Miami and showing up like that. I can't love this story anymore. And the idea that they could win more games than certainly anybody anticipated 2 weeks ago is now on the table simply because they've got a real point guard, it seems, that could play 35 minutes a game for them and make their best players even better. By the way, AD's been great too. Like, he's just had this wildly outsized impact. And man, if you see him in person, he is tiny. It's unbelievable. He's a little dude.
It's something you think about when the playoffs come around, but you didn't think about the Mavs in the playoffs until he came around.
Right.
So there you go. And before we move on, I'll just say this is like one of the we'll never remember when Cooper Flagg is, on year 17 and, a 13-time All-Star and whatever, we'll never remember like the first 3 weeks of the season of his rookie year when he was the point guard. But one of the things about that I find hilarious is the coach is one of the best point guards of all time, one of the best table setters, passers of all time. And he was like, no, we're going to have this rookie forward be the point guard. It was just odd. Here's my first love. We mentioned a little bit, so I'll go quick on this. The Warriors reserves in heroic losses. Last night, we know what happened, right? They come back. Pat Spencer's doing his thing. Guy Santos. These are guys like sometimes you have to look in the mirror and be like, I was wrong about this. I'm not going to say I was wrong about this, but one of the reasons I wasn't high on the Warriors is they have old stars and they have Quentin Post, Guy Santos, Seth Curry, Pat Spencer. Like they're sort of like, seemed like there was a bit of a cliff after sort of like Butler and even Horford. But these guys have been balling. It wasn't just last night. It was Tuesday night against the Thunder. Did they lose? Yeah. But like, it was competitive. Like these guys are like going toe-to-toe with the Thunder.
Also, Warriors fans were going crazy about him pulling Pat Spencer out of the game.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, who knows? But like, that's where we are in the Warriors world. But these reserves have been like toe-to-toe with the Thunder. They probably should have won last night. And it was just like, I did not see this coming.
Yeah, but they've also moved under 500. Curry's not playing. Butler's not playing. And in the absence of Draymond, this is a fun thing during the course of a night. And given that opportunity, like, without those guys, tough road.
Yes.
Really tough road. Okay, so yesterday you might have seen the clips going around everywhere of the outstanding interview Bill Simmons did with Max Kellerman. First time we've heard from Max Kellerman in a long time. And he was explaining the way First Take works. And in that was trying to say that, like, hey, Stephen A. Smith's role is to just react to the crazy thing you say, right? But he's not going to say the counterintuitive thing, right? So in honor of that, I'm going to give you the opportunity. Since this is the way this is supposed to work.
What?
And this will be my second love. The Wemby-less Spurs. Are they better?
I'm so glad you said this. Because we say this about Trae Young, right?
Like about everybody.
We say this about Trae Young, but no one has said this about the Spurs. I was in the bathroom at the urinal, and I had this exact thought earlier this morning. I had this exact thought. I was like, oh, the Hawks are so much better without Trae Young. Should they trade him? Oh, Paolo, the Magic have been on a little bit of a run without Paolo. Should they trade him? But the Spurs are hot, and no one's talking about Wemby. No one is. Not a single person.
So
I had this exact thought an hour ago.
Phooey, you were supposed to react and go, what? That's crazy, right? No. You're going to tell me a 7'5" alien that
who's injured all the time?
Better off without him. They are 7-2 now without Wemby,
and they look good.
Well, and Fox has averaged 27 a game. In those games, they've also, as a team, averaged.
Didn't Castle miss a couple? I think Castle missed a couple in there too.
Oh, I've got more for you. They've averaged 120 a game. Look,
was this on the rundown? Oh, it is.
Yep. But you've got the Luke Cornett block where they beat the Magic the other night. This is after they walked down the Grizzlies earlier in the week, and Harrison Barnes had 31, and Fox literally took over the game the last 3 minutes. I think he scored the last 11 points for him. Jeez. Fox has averaged 25 points a game on 49%, 39% from three so far this year. I mean, he is having an unbelievable season since he came back. Castle hasn't played since November 16th. Harper is back, but and he's gone in his 3 games, 17 points, 15 points, 16 points in the last 3 after missing almost all of November. And in 11 games this year that he has played, Dylan Harper has averaged 14 points, 3.5 assists, 3 rebounds in 21 minutes. He has been absolutely fantastic. They have 8 guys averaging double digits. 8 averaging. The Spurs do this year.
On the season or during that run?
The season.
On the season? Damn.
Yes. And what's crazy is anytime a great player goes out for a team and the team starts winning, that's why I had to do that.
This is right. But I had the same thought.
He is immune from everything.
He is. Lose Benyama. No one talks about. No one talks about Wemby lose Benyama. But like, when he's available, he's great. When he's available, he's great.
Hold on. You ready for another one?
There's more?
Can we start the conversation of Fox being the most important player on the Spurs?
Oh, you are cooking.
You like these?
Yeah.
I got it.
Should we start building around Dylan Harper and finding out which players best complement him?
Yeah. Why are people not talking about the moving Wemby for Giannis?
Yes. Well,
no, but they have been. Hey, look,
we always say this. Tongue is in cheek, but I do want to say like, when Paolo is out, it's like, oh, should the Magic try to move on from Paolo? It's like, I don't know.
They're 7-2 without him. That's why I'm highlighting them as a love, because, of course, all of these teams are better with their best player. But the point is, we're mocking that. I will say, when we were doing our season predictions, Wembanyama has not shown the ability to be available throughout these seasons, right? You just saw last year. And I said the thing feels so Wembanyama dependent that wherever you're picking them feels like a bet on how many games he's going to be available. And 7'5" guys, it's tough, right? And so I'm here to say that is obviously not so. It's obviously not so. They can absolutely win without him, and they have won at a very high rate without him. And so their operation is not Wemby dependent. And I think that speaks to not only strength of roster, it also speaks to the coach.
I'll just end by saying this is when Zion came out, it's like, we've never seen an athlete like this.
Right.
And when Wemby comes out, it's like, we've never seen an athlete like this. And that is a compliment, but it's also a little bit of a concern. Moving on. We're doing all loves and then all loathes?
Yep.
All right, here's my second love. The Celtics are good? Like, the Celtics are good? Are they good?
Oh, you got me. I'm going to get in my bag.
Oh, let's trade Jason Tatum.
If they're the number one offense in the East, what does that say about Jason Tatum?
Well, so the same night of that Rockets Thunder game, remember that one? That Friday night, right? The Nets were beating the Celtics, and I was like, I'm gonna live bet the Celtics. They're definitely gonna come back and win this game. And they lost to the Nets. Since that loss to the Nets, beat the Magic, beat the Pistons, lost to the Timberwolves in a tight game against the Timberwolves, beat the Cavs, beat the Knicks, and blew out the Wizards.
And by the way, nobody wants to talk about how Jaylen Brown has been a superstar against other superstars. Like, he's going heads up with these guys. Oh, you ready? Hold on. Let me get my bag.
Oh, no. He's getting his bag. He's getting his bag. He always has props. This is like Carrot Top of basketball podcasting.
Was Jason Kidd right that the best player on the Celtics is actually Jaylen Brown?
It might be Jordan Walsh. This kid, when you look at Jordan Walsh, like he was not, this is his third year. He's 21 years old. He could not break the rotation. And he's got DNPs left and right, and he's been fantastic. Minot, like, these are not household names.
Oh, in my household, he is.
Who, Minot?
Okay. It's been an ongoing thing. So 3 or 4 years ago, I take my son to a Memphis Tigers basketball game, and this is when they start selling they're selling the T-shirt jerseys out front, right? And we're now in a day and age where everybody, is in college for a year or two. And so Josh Minot was a freshman on the team, and I said, William, we're getting Minot because at least we'll get to have that one for 2 years. and the damn guy left for the draft.
Where did he get picked?
My
second
son,
round,
in
right?
the second round. My son has a Josh Minot shirt jersey.
Jersey.
And we bought it because we were like, he doesn't start. He's going to get he'll at least be here for a couple of years. Because in college athletics, you almost never get to root for a guy 2 years in a row. But we were sure we'll at least get to root for Josh Minot for 2 years. Nope, he left.
I'm going to ask you a question you asked me about the Bulls earlier in the season when they were hot. And I was like, this is not real. I am not sure. I don't know the answer to this, which is why I turned to you, NBA expert, Chris Vernon.
Of course.
Is this for real? Like, are the Celtics really good or they just been hot?
I think it's probably some of both, right?
Okay.
I think
that's kind of where I landed too. I was like, I don't know if this is real, but like remember we talked about the Timberwolves not having like signature wins? They beat the Magic, the Pistons, the Cavs, and the Knicks in like 2 weeks.
And you also have to, you got to give them some grace in that it takes time to figure out how you're going to play with a new crew. This is not just run it back. And Pritchard started out mega slow. White started out mega slow. All of those guys were in different roles than they've ever been in before, right? They've been able to live a pretty great life as NBA players. As we talk about the whiteboard, right? Their name was further down the list on the whiteboard up until this year. And it started off a little look at Pritchard's numbers. He started out where he couldn't make a shot to start the year.
Oh, and now, White was the same. I think
he's gone crazy.
Here's my prediction, or whatever, speculation. I think after the Nets loss, there was a conversation. Losing to the Nets on the road, in that manner, like not even making like a comeback at the end. I think there was a conversation. I think they turned a corner. What's your next love?
All right, the last one. The league finding teams for participation. At least we know when I tune into a Cavs game, I'm going to see all their stars. Because
in street clothes.
No. Do you know the next time? So you might have seen the headline everywhere that for the Darius Garland game and sitting him, it was $250,000. The next time they violate this, it's $1.25 million. Yes.
It's hard to police.
1.25. I think people will actually be like, all right, fine, we'll pay the $250,000, right?
Yeah.
I do not think they will be like, fine, we'll pay the $1.25 million.
The next time is the head coach's pinky finger. That's what I read. I read that somewhere. It's the left pinky finger.
Anyways, no, I like that they are actually enforcing this. Because just as a fan, I do think that you owe it to the buying ticket the ticket buying public, as well as me, who dedicates my nights to watching on television, right? You got to give me a heads up. You can't just be sitting out for rest, right? Like, are you injured or are you not injured? And the fact that they're cracking down so hard on the national TV game thing, and they're saying, look, it's different if you're on national TV. And we just made billions of dollars.
I was about to say.
Because these games are on national TV.
And these are new relationships.
Yeah, if you want to rest, do it Tuesday against the Nets. But you're getting all of these teams to think about it in a different way. Like, you better think more about your rest schedule, because you don't get to just sit a guy on the NBC game. That's not the way this is going to work. And so now this is going to be very, very interesting, because the next fine is so hefty. I mean, $1.25 million is crazy.
That's a lot.
And that's what they're going to get fined if they sit, because there is a different standard for sitting all-stars than non-all-stars. But because that's who people theoretically pay to see and certainly go to their couch and tune in. And I do think that this stuff, like whether it is the 65 games or whether it is stuff like this, has had an effect, because not only was the cat out of the bag, it had run 10 miles down the road a few years ago, where you were tuning in, every Thursday night, and neither team was playing its stars, and they were just sitting there because nobody cared.
You know how they say like the high and low tide of the ocean is because of the gravitational pull of the moon?
Yeah.
I'll never really understand that. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. But I feel like there's two gravitational pulls that make this important, and that is the relationships with the new partners, Amazon and NBC, and the gambling sites and the gambling stuff. Like I think those are the
fair.
two things like behind the scenes that are sort of like affecting this, but not in the headlines. But those are two things that I think are sort of like making them really crack down on this.
Absolutely.
I'm skipping my last love and saving it for the end of the show.
Okay.
I'm going to Loathes now. And you asked me before how I feel about the Knicks trading for Giannis, and I'm a little bit torn about it. I love that he wants to play for the Knicks. When you are a fan of a team, it's really nice to hear that star players are like, I want to be in that jersey. And I would not like them to trade for Giannis at this moment in this season for a package that involves Karl Anthony Towns and OG or McBride or something like that. I see the Knicks as a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year and almost went to the finals. And I see this Knicks team as with a new coach, with a new element that is sort of finding its way. And I think that when you look at Giannis now, he's injured, and you look at his injury history, I think that this Knicks team might not be better without Giannis, but there's something to say for consistency and availability. I think this team is probably better if you trade Deuce and Karl Anthony Towns for Giannis. But then you're hamstrung. You can't make any other moves because they've already done the Bridges move and then the Giannis move. And I would advise against them doing this. I think they would ultimately have a better roster and a much better defense if they'd made this trade. But at this moment right now, I would stand pat. And if he's still available in the offseason, we can talk then based on how this Knicks team performed.
Is it fair to say this, that you like this team, you think this team is capable of something great?
Yes.
But if they made the Giannis deal, you would talk yourself into it in less than 1 second.
Absolutely. Both of those things are 100% true.
Right? That you can't lose,
true.
right? Okay, if we don't get him, I didn't really,
Yeah.
But if you do, it's like, let's
Well, it's
go
one of the things like,
are you Giannis.
Are you going to win a championship with two defensive liabilities? Are you?
And are you going to win a championship without a consensus top 5 player in the league? Because
Brunson's like top 10.
I know. History has told us. And you could argue Tatum wasn't if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
But generally, we know who wins the title, right?
Yes. And I also think
it has stood the test of time that you have had one of the best players. Now, the Pacers would have been the all-time. I mean, that would have been going back to, honestly, we haven't really seen since the old Pistons where they didn't have
guys.
But they didn't have a consensus.
We're talking like Neesmith and Nembhard and Turner.
But I'm saying
the Pistons had like better players on paper than that Pacers team.
But they didn't have a consensus top 10.
No, not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
They
but across the board, they had sort of
had a collection of.
Yeah.
And that's what the Pacers had a collection of. Generally, history has told us you've got to have one of the best players in the entire NBA.
I think if Giannis were to become a New York Knick, I think the way that he would be energized by that uniform, that crowd, and that building, you would see a different Giannis than you've seen. You just can't help yourself.
Also, you don't have to think about it through the prism of the Eastern Conference. Think about it through the prism of the Thunder.
They would pose problems.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Let's not talk about the Knicks playing the Thunder in the finals. let's get through. Let's get through the trade deadline. What's your first load?
Oh, this is the easiest one ever. Zion. We do this. It's a yearly ritual. It's December, and here I need to do it. And nobody. It's such torture. It's truly such torture because the word comes out that he's injured. He's going to be out for weeks. And it's like, of course he is, right? Even though he's in the best shape of his life.
But this is abduction.
This is
because before it was hamstrings. So this is like another part of the body that's injured this year.
Correct. So now it's like, and this was supposed to be the healthy year. Contract's going to be coming up soon. Future of, this is you're kind of at a crossroads, right? And so it's like you got in the best shape of your life and all this kind of stuff. And here we go again. Not only is he on a rat team, he's injured. And then I'm like, okay, I try to buy in every time, and I want to believe that things could be different. And then he burns me every single thing. Nobody ropes me back in. He's like the worst ex-girlfriend you've ever had in your life. And so I say, you know what? I'm done. And then that story comes out. Word is the Pelicans would take the first reasonable offer for Zion. And
that is adorable.
And I immediately text you like, how about some bad contracts and picks? I'm like, you know, I mean, how low is the price here?
It's why even put that word in the report? The first reasonable? That's what you reasonable? Put online when you have like an old couch that you want to like just throw away. You're just like best first and best offer. You know what I mean? Like it's like, will you pick it up and take it? So I want to do a thought exercise with you. You love the Grizzlies, right? Let's imagine there's Adam Silver announces a wrinkle in the whole thing. He says, for some reason, we're allowing the Memphis Grizzlies, not a trade, to pluck one player from the Pelicans. Okay?
Yeah.
In what order do you advise your friends in the Grizzlies front office
what you're saying for my team?
For your team.
Oh,
like where does Zion stack up?
Oh, no. Number one, and it's not even close, is Murphy.
Okay.
It's not even close.
But okay, let's keep going.
I'm just saying, like, he's the one that if you said I could pluck somebody, again, I'm thinking about it through the prism of you have
the Grizzlies.
Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey, John Morant, right? Like and in fact, it's also a bane of my existence, no pun intended, because with the 10th pick in the draft a few years ago, they made this trade with the Pelicans. This was the Valanciunas Steven Adams trade, right? Mm-hmm. And they moved down, they moved up. With the trades that were swapped, Memphis took Zaire Williams and the Pelicans took Trey Murphy.
Right.
The Grizzlies got the higher pick and then took Zaire Williams. So they got the worst play. Like, that was their pick, theoretically. And so it's always, and then, of course, Trey Murphy turns awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, crap.
But
right.
But a random
he would be one.
I'd say Zion would be like 5 if you go through it.
Queen
like
fears.
Herb Jones, Queen fears Zion.
Maybe.
But, yeah. So here's my second load. And I'm going to be quick with this one because I know we're on the same page here. There was 2 games last night that went down to the wire, right? And I don't know if you noticed, in the Lakers-Raptors game, there was no stoppage of play. There was no fouling. There was no timeouts. They tried to call timeout, but Austin Reaves wouldn't let them. But it was just like a just back and forth basketball. That whole game was so awesome. It was just, everything was within 4 points the entire time, and it was awesome. The other game, the Sixers game that went down to the wire, there were 2 long-ass reviews. I mean, long reviews. Like VJ Edgecombe, it touched his finger and then went out of bounds. And like, did Edgecombe foul Quentin Post, or did he get the ball first? And it just took so long. And it was a real what's the word? Whatever. It was a real juxtaposition of like one game going back and forth and being awesome and exciting and having me standing up in my living room, and another game where I'm going to the fridge because I know I have 3 minutes.
Right.
What's your next load?
The amount of lame-ass teams. I am the hardcore of hardcore. I'm watching games every single night. But, like, and I got it, right? And I am already fearful of what February through the end of the season is going to look like for some of these. Because some of these are already no fun to watch. And there's too many of them that are no fun to watch, right? You have to be so hardcore to sell me on wanting to watch Brooklyn, Milwaukee minus Giannis, Chicago, Indiana's obviously been mega lame. Charlotte is at least somewhat fun some nights.
Chicago's fun. Charlotte's fun. I'll watch those games.
Washington,
Wizards.
the Wizards, Sacramento, the Clippers have been boring as all hell. New Orleans has been boring as all hell.
You're expanding this too far.
There's a lot.
This too far.
No, I'm not.
No, you're expanding this too far. Charlotte's fun to watch. The Clippers, I'm going to tune in just to see what's happening.
There's too many teams that if a good team is playing them, I don't care.
Yes. That's the thing. When I look at the slate of games, I open up the NBA app and I look at the slate of games. There are 2 or 3 every single night where I'm just like, not interested. Oh, they're playing the Nets, not interested. Oh, they're playing the Wizards, not
That's what
interested.
I'm saying. There's too many that like I'm just keeping up with the score, and if it's going to the last 5 minutes, I'll check it out.
I'll check it out. Yes, I think that's very fair to say. But you expanded the list a little too far. But even like some teams are interesting. Like I want to check in on the Jazz from time to time if they're playing a good team.
If they're playing a good team, but if I told you the Jazz and the Wizards are playing tonight, it's I'm
out. Because the problem is that becomes the pistachio ice cream thing. Like pistachio ice cream is good, but when you put it next to Rocky Road and cookies and cream and all the other flavors, I'm just not interested. If they're playing by themselves, like in football style.
Did you say the pistachio ice cream thing?
Yeah, like this is one of my go-to things. Yeah, pistachio ice cream is good if that's your only option, but there are other better options always around it.
I have never had that in life.
Pistachio ice cream?
I'm old too. No,
try some gelato. A little gelato. It's tasty.
Pistachio ice cream.
Dubai chocolate is a thing now. Put a little chocolate drizzle on there.
I've had Dubai chocolate. Yeah. I've never had pistachio ice cream in my life.
Solid flavor, but there's better options. That's my point.
So you think don't go buy it because there's better options.
Exactly.
If it is the only thing available to me.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you're like the only game on right now is Wizards Nets, I'm watching it. But if you put it on a slate on a Wednesday night when there's 9 games, I don't even know what's happening.
Fair enough.
Here's my next loathe. The Raptors are on a little bit of a run. This happens to me. I've been doing this a long time. You speak into microphones, give your opinions. And Raptors on a run, and someone cut together a people talking trash about the Raptors in the media, and I'm watching it. Someone tags me on it, and I'm like, I said it too. I'm not a big Scotty Barnes fan, but I said the 4 words into this microphone, and I'm gonna curse. I said, "Fuck Scotty Barnes."
You did?
Yes. I think I said it in jest.
And they pulled it?
Fuck Scotty Barnes. And now it's like he's playing amazing. He's D'ing up LeBron. The Raptors are playing well. And I said it. I'll own up to it. I have accountability. But I should not have put those words together in that way. So I'd like to rephrase myself and say, I don't see what everyone else sees in Scotty Barnes.
This happened with Bill and Jalen Green a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
It's just just don't put those 4 words together, Jacoby. Be smarter. You know what I mean? Articulate yourself in a much better way. But I apologize to the great city of Toronto, all of my friends at the Brass Rail, the Raptors, all Raptors fans, family of the Raptors, the Barnes family, and Scotty Barnes himself. I apologize. Hand up. I should not have said that. But I still don't like you.
My last loathe. So there was an article by my buddy Tim McMahon and Bobby Marks, 2 guys I really like. It's just an all-out assassination of LaMelo Ball, Trae Young, and Ja Morant. And the only thing I will say, again, I'm not killing the messenger here. My issue is everybody being an anonymous scout and an anonymous executive saying the most dastardly things. To me, because the same way that you get annoyed by people that have no profile picture and using a fake name on their, right? That's the same thing to me, right? The same way that some guy on Twitter or on Instagram or whatever can anonymously just say the most dastardly thing about another person and not have to stand behind it at all. This is just that in real life. And I understand how journalism works, but to me, if it's news or opinion or whatever, but if you're going to say a guy's a pain in the ass dirtbag who's not good anymore, you can find somebody to say anything. You know what I mean? And to me, it's all of those guys, they can get any kind of negative press that they deserve, right? There's again, I'm not shooting the messenger. I'm saying, to me, it's a bit shady for all these scouts, all these GMs, everybody, executives as they're called. And by the way, I don't care about an Eastern Conference scout. I have been around the NBA for 25 years. Scouts don't know shit about what goes on with teams, right? They just have an opinion of, they're not even around their own team. The scouts that come to the games in Memphis, they all live like around here. Like they scout for the Mavs and they scout for the Spurs and they scout for whatever. But like, the idea that they know these guys individually, like they have an opinion on things, but
they know how they play the game, Verno. Like let's not just wipe scouts' opinions off. They watch the games in an intense way, evaluating strengths and weaknesses.
I'm saying so much of the article is not about basketball, and those guys all should be criticized dramatically for basketball, right? If you want to talk about, hey, he might not be good anymore. He doesn't. I'm not killing the messenger. I'm saying when you go into like full on, this guy's a dirtbag. This guy's a pain in the ass. Right. This guy sucks. This guy. I mean, the same way if somebody came out and had anonymously asked a radio executive to evaluate our podcast, and they say Chris Vernon's a piece of crap, and what, yes. You'd be like, oh, come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? You don't even know. So, to me, the fact that you can say any kind of thing, like, and just not have to stay. I think there's a line where you should have to stand behind it. That's all I'm saying. I think if you're going to attack somebody, we have to stand by it. Again, somebody's pulling a clip of you saying F Scotty Barnes.
That was a bad one.
So I'm saying we live in a day and age where we have to stand behind everything we say. To me, if it's a full-on, everybody's anonymous just saying horrible things about people, I don't know. Like
I understand what you're saying.
It just feels like piling on.
This has been going on in sports journalism and journalism, but I only focus on sports journalism forever. It's especially bad when it's an anonymous teammate. Like the whole anonymous thing, when it's an anonymous teammate, it's even worse. This happens a lot in football locker rooms because there's so many people there. But like, I don't know the fix for this, Verno, because if you're Tim McMahon and you're getting these juicy ass quotes about star players, and as a journalist, you can't attach the name to it if someone says off the record or don't use my name. You cannot like out them.
Right.
So if you're in his position, he can't not print it. So it's like, there's no fix for this. I enjoyed the quotes. I read them all.
I know the way this works.
I don't know how to fix it.
What I'm saying is, if I think there's a line where you should have to stand behind it.
That's fair. If the criticism gets to like,
yes,
character assassination and things of that nature. So for me, what I found interesting is I didn't read the actual article. Sorry, Tim. But I saw the Instagram slide, and it was like Ja Morant, and then it was like LaMelo. I was like, oh, we're doing everybody?
Everybody.
I thought this was a Ja thing. And then it was like Trae Young. I was like,
and you could walk into any arena and throw a rock and find somebody that's willing to tell you they hate all of these guys.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
So I've got my final love. And I'm going to keep it brief. This is an internal plug, but I've been honored to do a little bit of behind-the-scenes work on the new Max Kellerman and Rich Paul project. And
what?
Yeah. And let me tell you something. Buckle up, everybody. Buckle up.
Wait, you're working with that?
A little bit. When I first saw that pairing announced, and I know Max. I don't know Rich. Like, I mean, whatever, I'll give him a pound, but like, number's not in my phone or anything. But like, I've known Max for a long time. Well, I mean, long time. Like, he calls me Dave. Like, we're in like Zoom calls. He's like calling me Dave. That's how long I've known Max. And let me tell you, buckle up.
Oh, you think it's going to be good?
Just yeah. I think it's going to be good. I think we'll be talking about things that get said on that show, on this show.
It launches in what, like a couple weeks?
Monday.
Oh, Monday.
Yeah.
I will go subscribe.
Yeah, everybody go subscribe. YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify and YouTube.
You know it's going to be good.
No, you know what I mean? It's like, how can I say this? I don't know that the baby's going to be good looking, but if both of the parents are good looking, there's a good chance the baby's going to be good looking.
Totally fair. You know both of those individuals, and you know what they can bring to the table.
I don't know Rich well, but I've been involved in this for a few days now, and I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a talked about show. That's all I'll say. And you can we'll all be talking about it on Tuesday.
Really?
Starts on Monday.
All right. Now I'm intrigued. That's a good sell. That was a good sales job you did. Right? Really good sales job.
You'll see. Buckle up.
Thank you to our executive producer, Jessie Lopez, as always. Jacoby, I'll talk to you next week.
Be 21 or over and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. Or 18 and over and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.